Hello and welcome to Season 4 of the Sunday Podcast, presented by sportsshoes.com. I'm Ollie Lum.
And I'm Matt SZN.
This podcast is all about elite distance running in the UK.
We're here to give you all the latest news updates around the sport,
as well as weekly interviews with athletes and coaches.
Stay up to date by following us on Instagram and X at Sunday Podcast.
And make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel too, where we post athlete workout videos, shoe reviews and more.
Thanks for listening, and as always, we hope you enjoy the episode.
Right, everyone, welcome back to another episode. Just Matt and I today. We thought we'd kind of, wrap up the track season, mate. It's a bit sad that it's all over, but I think obviously we're kind of on that post-Olympic blues anyway. So it's about time to end the track season and get into what's to come as well.
Mate, 100%. We're so ready for the road and having the cross country to come, man. You know we love cross country. We try and keep it alive on this podcast, so we're ready for a change. But we will just summarize that final Diamond League. I think discuss some of our favorite performances through the year as well. To be honest with you, but yeah, otherwise, yeah, we're all good. I mean, let's dive into it. Copenhagen. I think that's the most exciting thing of the weekend. That's been. It probably feels like ages ago as well. It feels like ages ago I was out there. It's this time last week, all the rumours were getting fired around and we were waiting to see whether Jakob was going to commit to it, going to run in the half marathon. I think now it's done, though. We obviously know the result. Obviously, 63 minutes or 63:13 walk jogging is pretty impressive after 10K, but I'd just really weird. Genuinely, I thought the only way he does a half marathon is to actually... I mean, look, the European record of what was it, 59:13 of Wonders, I thought like that's got to be a given. Like surely he's doing this half marathon for a reason. He wants to maybe break that record and then see how fast he can go below that. And then obviously, like, you saw what happened at 10K when he just literally pulled up at 10K, absolute shock. But like, it's easy for people to say now that, he was just going for a 10K split. I don't know, because the 10K split 27-27, that is very mediocre for him. And like, even if you were going for a 10K split, again, there's little things like the European record of 27:07 Gressier that could have been ratified had he run it. Like, that would have been ratified as well. So like the whole 10K split, I struggle with. It's just really weird why he chose to do the Copenhagen half marathon relatively late notice as well. Decided, obviously the press state on when that decision was made. I can't disclose, but just a bizarre, all in all, a very bizarre event. And, I guess from the outside, I'm just looking at it, I'm like, Nike were there in big numbers. It's a Nike event. Kiplimo is there going for the world record. That, by the way, was the plan. He had all his kind of agents and entourage and his physio and massage, all these people, training partners, all in town as well. So I just wonder, was it basically just a nice good payday for him and just a way to kind of sign off? It's almost felt like a victory lap, that last half of the half as well. But don't know what you made of it, mate. I know everyone's got their different opinions, but I just thought really weird and very unlike Jakob to actually, if he's struggling, he runs his own pace. Like he never kind of, that was Kenyan-esque. What he did was like, African style racing, just get to halfway and blow up and just call it a day. And he never does that. He'll drop back early after 2-3K and then and sort of adjust his pace and run it home in 60 or 59 or whatever. But it's weird.
Yeah, I think the thing with Jakob is, obviously, like you said, there's a few ways you can take it. The thing with Jakob is we know he's not going to the roads yet. So maybe just in their heads, it was like, well, I think we know he could run, like you say, 59 minutes if he runs that at a sensible pace. But maybe he's just saying, well, right now, actually, could I compete, or how long could I compete for with some of the best in the world? Either that or it wasn't a test and he actually just believed he could. And then he's like, well, it means that, yeah, when I do go to the roads, kind of, I know how far away I am, because Yeah, it might seem like actually, yeah, in a 21K race, 10K is not very far, but I think for someone like Jakob, it having done that, he probably knows what he needs to go away and do for
Mm,
not that he's going to do it next year, but like over the next few years, like 3 to 5 years, right? Until he's going to have another crack to actually compete with those guys for the whole thing. I do think the point you make as well about Nike's interesting as well is it actually, well, we just want to make sure this race has a lot more coverage, so there's more impact if Kip Limo does get the world record. I think
mm,
also it probably says a lot about why Kip Limo didn't line up in that 5K in the Olympics, probably
100%.
with this in mind.
Mhm,
Because I don't think you just kind of finish the Olympics and then think, oh, now I'm going to try and run a world record in the half. It's probably
mm,
always been part of the plan.
100%. Yeah, I think you definitely make some good points about Jakob. I think funny it's funny you say that about went on next to a half. I think in his post race interview, he definitely said I won't come back to this for a couple of years, 2 3 years at least. And I think I found that quite interesting because I thought he would be disappointed and he would want to prove what he can do over the half to the world. And so I thought he might walk away from that race and be like, right, I'll do one in January, do one in February, after he's had like a proper aerobic stint, he's, topped up the engine and done all his threshold and stuff and then go and attack one. But he doesn't seem fast. And so I
Well, I think
think
that tells you
it's
that,
interesting.
yeah, sorry, mate. I was just saying, I think that tells you when that's Jakob that he almost knew this was going to happen, or there was some sort of planned kind of pace for a certain amount of time or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Does this, what Jakob did, does that show that what Hassan done at the Olympic Games is either very sus or like or like she is just an incredible freak because Jakob's tried to do a 1500 then a half marathon and those two events are, would you say, closer than a 5000 in a marathon? I think there's a
Oh,
1500 and a half marathon.
but for an athlete like Jakob, definitely closer. Yeah,
Yeah, I'd say a 5000 a marathon for anyone is a lot. That's a big difference.
it is.
To
It
do
is.
that to do those races in a small window and obviously, the way in which Hassan was able to win the marathon as well. I mean, it shows you like what, I think when she did what she did this summer, I think people just go, that's just incredible, and they haven't got anything to compare it to because no one else has tried it, so we don't really know how other people might fare. But like, I think Jakob doing this shows us that he is the best in the world over 5000, 3000. He's obviously not the best at 1500, but he's certainly the fastest. Um, and like, he couldn't even double back and do the half. And I think it either shows that what Hassan's done and who she is even more impressive, or it's, we begin to just go, is it that believable? But there we go.
Yeah, it's so tough, isn't it? Um, I think we just with a sound right, we believe it until we can't believe it. I think I always made that point. There's no point otherwise, is there? No point watching if you're not going to believe the performances. But yeah, interesting one with Jakob, mate. Like I don't know, is it that Hassan's is more impressive, or obviously Hassan's is impressive, but I think she's specifically trained for the marathon and she's just still really good at her previous events. So actually, whereas Jakob hasn't done that, it's not like Jakob's like gone and trained for a half and then like dropped in a 1500 and has still run well. Obviously, we're
Yeah,
talking
you
Olympic
make a
level,
good
so
point.
so, but I think there is a slight difference. Because you got to think actually the difference would be if Hassan had prepped to purely beat Faith Kipyegon, right, on the track, and then went and run a serious half or marathon
Mm, mm.
after prepping for that instead of the other way around.
Mm.
So it's slightly
That's
different.
an interesting take. Yeah, I think you have a good point there. To be honest with you, yeah, Jakob is very much training for the track, doing the half marathon on a whim, whereas Hassan training for the marathon and just stepping down. But the crazy thing is, like the 5K and the women's, like it's seriously moved on. Like they used to run 14:30, and now they're running like basically, if you're not a 14:0 runner, you're not in the level and the fitness required to like get a medal at these events. It's absolutely crazy. It's
I
obscene.
think that again has
Um,
helped Hassan in a way. Because to run the kind of to be the Olympic marathon champ, you have to be so strong and also so fast. But she would not have had in one of those like 14:45 races, there's no way she gets as high up.
is it the kick?
I think
Yeah.
anyway. Because that's what you really lose without being able to like specifically work on it.
Mm. Yeah, you make another good point, mate. I think, but yeah, so there's the comparison: Hassan and Jakob. Jakob failing in the half marathon. Not that he was too fussed about it at all. I just want to say though, like having met this guy, he is just an absolute gent. Like I was speaking to a few of the British lads after Ellis Cross and stuff, who by the way ran very well. 62:44 in Copenhagen, big PB for him. And he came up on Jakob at the 15K marker. Jakob checks his shoulder, asks him what pace he's going at, what he wants to run. Jakob then just paces him, proceeds to pace him for the next 5K and work with him. And those two were, working together, catching men, and Jakob just encouraging who, a guy that he'd never met before in Ellis Cross. And, and then Jakob actually proceeded to think I think have another stop and walk at 20K. And Ellis goes on to beat him. And the rest is history, mate. Long live Crossy. But I just think like as well, the time he had for the media and everyone, anyone who wanted a photo with that guy, a little chat, like he's just gracious. And yeah, he's just a really, really good bloke from what I saw. And I think there's very few who are at that level who are as approachable and as willing to kind of openly talk as much as Jakob. Because let's not forget, this guy flew in from Brussels on Friday night, where he'd been inundated with media at the Diamond League, and then comes to Copenhagen, and and the same thing. And so yeah, I just think we are living in a pretty special generation with him, and I had a newfound respect for him after just kind of seeing him and how how he acts and carries himself. I mean, there's no one better in my opinion.
Well, mate, now you've told me that, I can't believe you didn't collar him for a podcast, to be honest. So
Yeah, the thing is I find difficult is like when I'm there to, to do the commentary job, I don't want to come across as a little fanboy. I have to keep it professional, I think anyway. So, but yeah, I wish I kind of asked him for a photo and stuff. But at the same time, I'm gonna be commentating on him stuff. So, but hopefully I'll see more of him in those sorts of situations, to be honest. And then, I can get to know him a bit better, get his number.
yeah, we
But
might be featuring in his doc, so he clearly knows about the pod, doesn't he? So
Oh, mate, talking of the doc, it comes out today, so I can't wait to watch that. We're recording on Friday, so it comes out today, and that is my Friday evening sorted. I think the first two episodes might be out, so oh God, we'll have that to bloody review next week. That'd be amazing. But we hope we feature. We've had discussions with Amazon Prime, about a certain clip. So
yeah, let's hope so. Let's hope they haven't cut us out. If not, our review next week's going to be terrible. But yeah, no. So it's cool to see him on the roads anyway to kind of wrap that up and I think yeah, obviously post that Diamond League final that we'll get into now where it's not like he came from the Olympics and did a little stint. He did come literally straight from the track, kind of 3 days previously to then hit the road. So mate, should we get into the Diamond League?
yeah. Let's do it, big man. Let's do it, Diamond League. I mean, obviously, yeah, Friday, Saturday night. Obviously, it seemed like most of the men's endurance events were on the Friday night by the 800, and then vice versa for the women. So, I guess Georgia Bell doing the double, very strong, getting second in that women's 800 on Friday night. Riki, but it was weird, wasn't it? It just wasn't. By the way, Mary Moore, in the women's 800 while we're on it, just seemed to time her season a little bit wrong, to be honest. she got stronger since the Olympic Games, and like I do think that Keely was definitely right to end her season because I think we could have seen like a whole like a Jakob V, like a sorry Hocker kind of situation where you're just getting constantly you're Olympic champion and you're just getting constantly beat. And on that as well, like it's weird, like Cole Hocker, Olympic champion, but even when it's the Diamond League final and he's like on the start line and you're just like, for me, just doesn't give off Olympic champ energy. Like, you got people like Jakob, like Kerr, and even the Goose, you kind of put in a kind of higher bracket than Hocker, but yet he's the Olympic champion. It's. I don't know if you feel that, mate. It's a
Not with
weird
the goose,
situation.
mate. Not with the goose. I,
No, but I think more people know. Even though Hocker won the Olympic Games, I probably think more people will know who Yared Goose is.
yeah, I guess the way just On's marketing, I think, is on it. But I do think, like, yeah, I was about to
I
say
think
no
that's it.
disrespect to the goose, but then I was going to say he's very overrated. So I guess I can't really say that because I guess it's a bit disrespectful. But yeah, to be honest, like,
No, I think that's it. I think On do such a good job at pushing their athletes forward, whereas have Nike done much with Cole Hocker? Like the men's 1500-meter champ, he beat their golden boy Jakob
yeah,
Ingebrigtsen.
maybe that's the problem.
I genuinely I think that's the problem. I genuinely think there is a little bit of a clash there. Like if you're Nike, Jakob is worth more to you than Cole Hocker.
Yeah.
Like that is just the way it is.
Mm.
Even though Hocker Olympic champs. So I wonder if there is a bit of conflict there or not. But yeah, you're right. Like, imagine if a non-athlete won the Olympic Games, they'd be everywhere. And
Well, it's
Josh
even like when
Kerr,
we spoke to Kerr previously, like about Brooks putting on parties for him
yeah,
and things like that.
which I'm sure he's getting treated like a celebrity. I just feel like even in the athletics world, he just didn't. When they're lining up on the line, I'm like, this guy's the Olympic champion, and like. He's not really giving off that energy. And, I don't think people are seeing him as that either. Maybe I'm wrong.
I
But
mean,
this
that's
is the problem.
quite nice though, isn't it? It's actually quite the nice thing about Hocker that he's not kind of he's not just like switched his personality and become like this really kind of like over the top um over the top athlete
Oh,
who
no, don't get me wrong. Yeah, I do rate him for it.
that's what I
Uh,
mean, yeah. So it's
yeah,
cool. It's cool to
I
see.
got a lot of respect for it. Him and Ben Thomas as well, like the way they've gone about their season, the way they've got the job done in probably the strongest 1500-meter era
Mm.
um, in a long, long time. And so, yeah, I rate it. I just think I just say it as more of a like it's a shame that he isn't, but I don't think he'll ever be that guy. Brash and out there. And I think if he was, he'd be forcing it. So, um, but saying that men's race was awfully messy. By the way, obviously Ingebrigtsen wins in 3:30, Chariot in second, Hocker third. Um, the Goose trips, pacemaker. Pulls off and trips up a load of people as well, gets in everyone's way, and yeah, the kind of rest is history. You know the score. Um, Men's steeple, Al-Bakkali's win streak comes to an end. Amos Serim, by the way, who is brother Edmonton Serim, won the World Juniors. So there is two Kenyans who are brothers, both young, both capable of low 8-minute clockings. Look like they're going to come to the fore in the next few years, to be honest with you. So Kenya could be taking that.
Going back.
But let's see how Germa gets on. See how he recovers. Men's 5K, obviously Ethiopian 123, mate. Meragawi, Gebret, Bakili, and again, these Ethiopians just consistently just boshing out low 1240s for fun. It is quite scary how many times we've seen a low 1240 clocking over the last few years as well.
Same old story though, isn't it? It's a few weeks too late.
Well, it's not even a few weeks too late because they would have been in that shape of the Olympic Games, but it's just they're just capable of running
That's
as
what I
fast.
mean. Like, yeah, it's not like you just yeah.
Mm, mm. Mate, men's 800 then Wanyonyi wins again. Sajati Aerop, still is crazy that we're going, it's only a 142. Like, Jesus, a few years ago, that would be absolutely mega. And then Ben Patterson, 144, coming out the back door a bit, but a breakthrough season in the sense that he ran 142. But then obviously, didn't make the final for various reasons, illness and stuff. So, it's a strong run from him. And I don't think we can expect much more after a pretty long season.
Yeah, I also think whilst he didn't make the final, I do think it still backs up last year.
It does.
I
It
think
does. I mean,
it would
to
be
prove.
so easy for him, despite going and medaling, right? It's so easy for an athlete at that age to come back and like not make the team or just not really improve your time or bomb out in the heat.
Yeah,
Uh,
he could have run a load of 144s this year, not
yeah.
like, yeah,
So
that sort of thing.
I still think it backs up his season before, and it means I think we got an exciting few years ahead for Patterson still.
I think we do. I think the whole time he's improving is pretty special if you ask me.
Mm.
Um, yeah, women's 3K steeple just outside 9 minutes. Cheritic, Yavi, Chimutai. The usual suspects in that one. Again, not like there just wasn't that much to report, to be honest. Because most of the races were paced, but they were just slower than the Electric Olympics and other races that we'd seen. But I guess Georgia Bell finally showing a little bit of fatigue and got seventh in the women's 15 with Courtney Bryant breaking four in ninth as well.
Yeah, and obviously she's officially announced the kind of she's finished her job 'cause she was on sabbatical from when we spoke to her up until the Olympics, but she's going full time for the next I guess the next Olympic cycle to keep going. So mate, that'll be the one. Like if Georgia Bell can, well, if she can improve, obviously, look, you just got a medal, so improving is becoming the best, if not the second best, in the world.
Yeah, yeah, she's definitely right to not go back to a job, that's for sure. But I know when you think about it, like this time last year, she was working full time. She works full time all through the winter basically until January, wasn't it, when she went away on camp and then took that
Yeah,
sabbatical
something like
just
that.
after. So it just shows you, like, even because I've always thought like you can get volume in and stuff around the 9 to 5, but to do those real specific sessions, it's difficult. But I guess working on endurance and stuff in the winter she was able to do. The story is just incredible.
I wonder how close she'll be to Keely now as well, because obviously she was training with Trevor Painter and
No,
Jenny Meadows, but still living in London, obviously where a job is based. I presume she obviously living there
this is
most
the
of the
thing.
time.
Like,
Is she gonna
yeah,
kind of go fully in, and are her and Keely gonna like
mm,
train together every day, you know?
yeah. I
Which is
think
scary for everyone else if they are.
really. I mean, I think Georgia is always going to commit to the 1500. Um,
Oh yeah, but I think that's
yeah,
better because it means you can both be the number one athlete.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, it'd be too much if she's going for
Yeah.
the 800 as well. Surely. Yeah.
And you can complement each other in training without with like knowing that you're not really competitors. Whereas I think, yeah, if they're both, yeah,
Saying that though, we did say, Georgia Bell could medal. Now, I wonder if the likes of Georgia Bell, she is prime time suspect for Grand Slam and getting even more of a payday. She really is. Like, she should be looking at that. I don't know who. It's 40 actually, her agents. I mean, they gotta get her involved in Grand Slam because yeah, if there's a lady who can do the 8:15 double, it is her. Like Jess Hull, 800 time, pretty mediocre, obviously good 1500 runner, but like she can do the 800, 1500 for fun. She would get some serious cash and there's a lot of women who are on the circuit who do the 800. Mary Moore, you can't really see her doing a 1500. Keely, we're still undecided what she can do for 1500, but yeah, Georgia Bell she's in for a big payday if she can lock down and sign at Grand Slam, which at the moment the only foreign athlete or non-American athlete, shall I say, is Josh Kerr. The rest are all American at this stage.
yeah. And this was some of our kind of I guess, reservations about Grand Slam in the first place, right? Is that if we don't start seeing some more international athletes, well, I'm not going to be watching it. Let's put it that way.
Well, yeah,
Don't know about you and people listening, but to me, that it's no point if
I
if
presume we will in the sense of rivals, but athletes who sign to Grand Slam. Yeah, just seems to be all American at the moment. So yeah, but mate, on Grand Slam, obviously they Diamond League, and the fact that they love to reiterate that they're not rivals, but Diamond League have felt the need to increase their prize money. Um, to from is it 30K for the win? No shit. I think is it lower than that? Let me double check, man, what Diamond League's current prize money structure is.
Yeah, while you're doing that, mate, I'll just say to be fair, there was a bit of faff ahead of the Diamond League final, wasn't there? And people were sort of saying, I've seen on Twitter that, oh, this is why Grand Slam, sorry, are gonna come in now and take over because it was like, Cindy McLaughlin's doing it. Oh, she's not allowed to do it. Oh, she is doing it. People weren't really sure, and then it happened to Grant Holloway as well, who's kind of, oh, maybe you can't do it. So yeah, I think a few people, obviously American athletes involved, so people were sort of saying that this is why Diamond League shooting themselves in the foot a bit with obviously Grand Slam coming up next year.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, the whole thing was bizarre. I think it's been well documented and well discussed, so we won't go around in circles too much. But yeah, it was yeah, the meat directors did have a little bit of a headache there, and that wild card spot, by the way, I think is going to be um, next year's Diamond League final will get you a wild card um, into the Olympic Games. So, but yeah, you're right. The prize money has gone straight up to 30,000. Well, this is the weird thing. Diamond League have said total prize money per discipline will be between $30,000 and $50,000. Now, I think that just depends what event you're in. I think they're going to weight it towards events. I think they're going to have, the 100 is going to be more prize money. They might even try and follow a Grand Slam approach, and where they've got zero field events, and just say, well, look, if you're a track runner, you're going to get 50K. If you're a field eventer, you're going to get 30K. That would cause all sorts of problems, but I don't know how they're going to decide that. And then for the final, it's going to be between 60 and 100,000. So considerably more than the current kind of 10K winnings down to 1,000 that they have at the moment. So
Which is also good. This is always good to see more money. And actually, if this rivalry creates more money for athletes, then I guess we can't complain.
yeah, yeah, no, we can't, and but I think yeah, Grand Slams 100K for the win and 50K for second, and I think they go down to about 2,000 or something in eighth. It does make the Diamond Leagues look like pretty Mickey Mouse territory, to be honest.
Hmm. Yeah, it's
So, but mate, there we go. Yeah, so Diamond League Grand Slam, and just finally, we'll just rattle through. Obviously, Glasgow hosting the Commonwealth Games, going to be scaled down and whatnot. I mean, good for us in Britain, and just basically good for home nations. I just think it's going to give everyone who's involved in England athletics, and because let's be honest, that is their role. Commonwealth Games, getting a team together for that. Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland. So I think it just gives athletes definitely on the cusp. Boy, do we have a lot of them. Trying to make teams just gives them a little, okay, yeah, I can get my head down for a couple of years and try and get a vest and compete at homecoming games because I think, look, it's going to be special. It's going to be sold out for sure. And so that is a good thing for the home nations because we weren't sure if it was going to go ahead or what. And mate, dare I say it, even if the Commonwealth Games were in Australia, I mean, what the hell would the team selection be like? Given that in Birmingham they limited their team anyway, so what was it going to be like if it was in Australia? This is obviously England we're talking about.
Yeah, and even though it is in Glasgow, mate, it still might be more limited again. We don't know. So, um,
Yeah, I wouldn't get too excited if you're
yeah, that's the
if
thing.
you're an English athlete.
They'll be like, oh, the 800 standard's 139.
Yeah.
5K standard's 1220. But we'll take a full team if you achieve that.
Yeah, exactly. But mate, there was one other big event that happened, and we have not given it enough airtime at all. National Cross on the weekends, and on the men's side, Hugo Milner getting the win. It's about 550 runners who completed the race compared to usually about what 2,000, 2,500. I would say though, Neve Brown, by the way, big win for her on the women's side as well. I would say definitely in the men's side, I thought the top 10 was strong. The top 10 was strong. I would look at those results and I'd be like, that could be a national in February. And people might be like, oh, no way. But like, let's be honest, like, I know Emil and Mohammed and Alex Yee did the nationals a couple of years ago at Parley Hill, but other than that, like that nationals in last weekend was strong. Hugo Milner with the win, Ben Connor, James Kingston, these guys they're all GB cross runners. Will Battershill, another GB cross, GB potential athlete on over the steeple. Callum Johnson as well. How good is he on the cross? Jack Gray, Jack Miller. These guys are guys who just missed out on kind of well, Miller obviously just missed out on World Cross and stuff. So I thought top 10, Stuart McCann, former GB Cross, top 10 was good. Yeah, and then even like the likes of Jamie Crow down in 16th. By the way, how is a Scottish guy doing the English national? Maybe they changed the ruling. But yeah, I just wanted to say I thought fairly top 10, strong field.
Yeah, I think so, mate, because the Nationals never in it is, don't get me wrong, it's super strong in terms of like the caliber of cross-country athletes doing it, but it's never the same as like a Liverpool where you get a mix of your kind of pure cross guys, the track and the road guys
Hmm.
and girls, who I guess you consider to be more household names, if you like. But
Hmm.
it doesn't necessarily mean that the standard of cross-country runner is any lower. I think we just see a few more big names normally at Liverpool, etc.
Yeah, but I mean, Bar Caress and I might just say Bar Caress. Who beats Hugo Milner on the cross country?
Oh yeah, I'm not disputing that, mate.
Maybe Mohammed if it's really
Um,
muddy. But Milner
yeah, I
was
think it
was
depends.
monster
Depends on.
last year. So
Yeah, he was absolutely monstrous last year, wasn't he, Milner? So
seriously, so up front, Kingston, Connor. Yeah, and I think yeah, I definitely think we might see people like Ben Connor and obviously we'll see Kingston and stuff, but I think Ben Connor might be doing Liverpool Cross. Hugo Milner definitely going to look to get a medal this year at Eurocross, and then when we were speaking, can potentially will Mark do it, will Emil do it? Obviously, neither of those who had both teased, both rumored that they were going to do the national cross, neither of them did it, and it would have been interesting to see how they matched up against Milner, especially. Um, at this stage of the season. So it's hard to tell kind of what sort of shape Milner's in, to be honest with you. But yeah, and on the women's side, Neve Brown, Holly Dixon, Gemma Steele, Jenny Walsh, kind of similar, like top three, pretty strong. But yeah, it's a little weaker on the women's side, I thought, in that top 10, but still good. Course looked good, by the way. I watched. We got a shout out Mark Cookway. Watched his video back. Course looked really good. I was like, they should probably host a few more nationals there. From what I heard, it was pretty good as well. So yeah.
yeah, no issues with flooding in the car park or anything. So that's
Oh
all.
shit, yeah, that's why we can't host a national there.
That's always good.
It floods, yeah, God, yeah, that is why obviously it's in September. But hey, for September, it looked like a good course. Looked pretty fun. Big laps and stuff. It's just, yeah, you could see a lot, or at least Hookway and his camera crew covered a lot. So there we go.
Best
And
thing now is, mate, we don't even have to wait a year for the next one. We are February, National Cross back to Parley Hill.
hell
Um,
yeah,
yeah,
hell yeah. Mate, we've got to shout out Thames Hare and Hounds women second place. So silver for them team and Bristol and West men. Winning team on the men's side, couple Oxford cross country alumni and current students in that team. So a couple new signings meant they bumped up the rankings, took the win. So big national title for them. So it's looking good. But mate, I think that's all we got to report this week. Yeah, I guess the big news was just discussing Jakob, and we'll be back hopefully once a few of these elite athletes are off on back from their holidays with a guest next week.
Yeah, I guess the only other thing is, yeah, George Wheeler is back from the dead. He's back sorting our socials after his annual leave. So, George, thanks very much for returning and giving the people what they want. But yeah, that's it. Thanks very much for listening, guys. We'll catch you very soon.